Okay, so I'm controversially titled Head of DevOps at Credit. Our company, 2.5 years ago, I'd never heard of the word DevOps. So this is, it's been a rapid journey, I think, for me and a lot of the people I work with, finding out what this is. I'm guessing all of you are at some stage along the same thing. So I'm going to talk a bit about some of the things we did, some of the challenges we found, some expected, some utterly surprising we did not see coming. I'll segue onto a few suggestions of how we overcame some. I'll be totally honest with you when I say we'd be happy to overcome some. I'll also try and sell you 2 books, neither of which I'll get any money for. So a couple of years ago, so it's called Credit, our company, we have a branch in Occurrence. We started to look at changing things. This came from new owners coming in, Americans, with, as they're American, aggressive plans to try and increase the amount of money we made by 2 times in 5 years. Clearly this meant we were going to have to end up deploying software considerably more often than we already were. So it was at this point that a few people went, I've heard of this DevOps thing that promises you can deliver more often, put safer. Which raised a few eyebrows actually. So that's where we came from. Okay. So the main takeaway, the main thing we learned is that it's not smooth sailing trying to change the culture or the way people work. In fact, it's very, very painful in a lot of cases. Yeah, that's the boat. Okay, so where we started. So we had development teams, classical development teams, and we had operations department. And the operations department spent most of their time firefighting, going, this is the problem, I'm going to fix it. Development team, very clean, classic development team focusing on their own thing. Their definition was done was, I finished writing my code. Which none of you believe, right? Just check. And even where the developers would start going, okay, I do care about how my stuff's running, I would go to the operations guys and go, you need to tell me a bit about these live servers, I can't see them. How are they running? Where are the problems? And what sort of operational requirements have you got? What sort of things should I be building in? And the operations team is going to go, brilliant, someone's come to talk to us. Absolutely. So what we want is all fire. So consequently, with good practice and with bad practice, what we didn't get was the right things being delivered in the right way into our production environments. Which again, were just slowing us down. So, there you go. Classic scenario, where we'll get to. So again, we started as a very small company, grew up, and as we grew up, these walls get built. The developers develop, throw their grenades over the wall to the operations team, and we go, I wonder what they're doing. So what we did, to try and get around the problems we were having, we asked some of the operations guys, we said, okay, stop looking at the fires for a bit, and instead of that, look upstream into the development. Focus on that, try and help them understand what we need and how we're to deliver it. Get the development and the operations guys understand each other. So, what happened was this. Really wasn't what we were expecting or hoping for at all. We had the new outward-facing operations guys all of a sudden forced from their old friends and colleagues who they were sat next to the point where I heard a phrase from one of the now firefighting operations guys, referring to one of the guys who are now working with product teams as not a real DBA anymore. He'd been sat next to him a week before being a real DBA, but now for some other reason he wasn't. So, first thing, new brand exciting walls. So, the tactic we were going to take was to try and at least break down the wall that we first set out to break down, and then we will go and work on this one. But at least for that point, we would have the developers and some of the operation guys understanding each other's needs and requirements. Okay. So, the most, excuse me, can you put your phone down, please? Can you put your phone down, please, now? So, one of the most important things is the trust environment you work in, okay? The interaction just there with my colleague Dan, thank you for letting me correct you in public. Depending on the environment we're working in, depends entirely on how you're seeing that. So if we have a low trust environment, you're pretty much all sat there going, wow, he's a jerk. Why is he picking on this guy? In a more medium trust environment, when you kind of know us both, you know at least we know each other, you're still going to go, that was a bit weird. In a high trust environment where we all believe everyone's doing the right thing, trying to do their job for the right reasons, you're probably going to go more along the lines of, well, maybe I need you to put that down now and come help me with something here. So, low trust environments cost you in speed and cost you in money. So that's one of the first things to work on is getting people trusted and understanding how we're working together and why we're doing these things. So you end up sort of double checking, triple checking everything if you don't have a trust environment. It's a bit of a nightmare. So, language. So shared language is absolutely the most important thing you can do to do this. If you're using phrases and chucking them out there, people aren't understanding or hearing different things, you may both go away from a meeting thinking, yeah, brilliant, we all agree on that, and then go and do completely different things. The first real experience I had of that was when I was in a meeting. I was doing a presentation. This was in our early days, and we're going to adopt DevOps, and we're going to aim for continuous delivery. Right? Fine-ish. The meeting of managers and directors who I was presenting this to, pretty much at this point, screamed and ran out of the room going, "What? He's gone mad! Get away from us!" I exaggerate slightly. But what I think they were hearing was continuous deployment. So our company, we're a financial company, lots of regulation and rules around what we can do with data, how we can do it, giving notice to clients and the consumer. We're not Netflix, we're not Facebook. Our end users don't want changes coming out 10 times a day. I'm fairly sure the immediate panic in the room and the noise and the shouting at me, throwing things if they had them was down to that misunderstanding. Is everyone comfortable with the difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment? I don't know if that's a yes or no. Okay. So, anyway, once I've managed to get the people back into the room, calm them down, I went, okay, maybe I need to define this for you. So continuous delivery is all about the business, not about the IT. Okay? So we develop in a way that we make sure our software is always potentially shippable throughout its life cycle, that any build could potentially be released to users while pressing the button at any point. That means we can put the release schedule in the hands of the business. And then all of a sudden, all of the directors and the managers are going, oh, well, that sounds great. So you mean I can ask for a deployment and you can give it to me? Well, yeah, that's the plan. And we can give it to you then. We don't give it to you in a sort of, right, okay, we'll just give me a month to make sure I just merge all the changes to the main branch, create a new build, push it through, do my testing, find any bugs, go back to there, repeat it again. Maybe 3 months, but now. So all of a sudden they've gone from horror to being brilliant. We like continuous delivery, it's a good thing. Again, language, be careful. So don't just use the words, explain first. Okay, broadcasting. So, thus armed with the knowledge that we were going to use a whole bunch of new terms that no one really understood, we started to try and put together a way of broadcasting to all and sundry, to anyone who listened, what these new terms were. So, one of them was an email we sent out weekly. It spanned probably a lot of annoyed people who just deleted it, about where good practice was going on, so automation, use integration, even continuous delivery, and started to talk about it. Go, this team's doing a great thing, go and talk to them about it. Broadcasting, but getting those terms to start to seep into people's heads, to understand what we meant when we said DevOps. It wasn't just ops guys working with the developers, there's so much more to it. and we did this poster. So we took, it's not quite the cash, we kind of put the cash a bit, which I think was this morning, into our own version, which everyone seems to do. That's fine. Was it Pace, I think, this morning? So yeah, so we took culture, monitoring, environments, and continuous delivery itself as kind of our headline. So we stated to everyone, this is what we're doing now. And then this is our target state. So this is what we're doing and why we're doing it. So everyone understands. We put these posters up so that in the kitchens and things, when people were drinking their coffee and chatting there, it's like, sure. If I had a prize right now, I'd be offering it to anyone who could tell me why the slides are Halloween themed. Anyone? Dead people on the slide now? Okay, excellent. Because that's useful for a later slide, and then you don't know what it is now. Okay, so the useful way of doing things. So we stole this kind of now and also concept from what was Toyota's improvement pattern. And again, I'll talk more about Toyota later. Of course, they're a good reference point for everything. But very simply, there was, and I'll put the website up there so you'll be able to go and look at the blog that they used. It was used as a kind of PIR at the end of your sprint. But we stole it generally for a way of doing transformation. And it's very easy when you're doing transformations to try and go right. I think, again, as I said this morning, try and do all the things at once. Eat your elephant bite by bite. You're probably going home using that with your friends. You're mad. So yeah, define where we are now, and then we defined awesome. So awesome was potentially unachievable. It wasn't where we wanted to get to, it was where we really wanted to get to. If I had a magic wand right now, how would this company look? It was to give us a direction of travel. And we then set our next state change. So this is the achievable where we want to get to next in 6 weeks to a month. And then very simply put steps towards that. It's worked really well for us in a lot of places in terms of managing change and managing in a sensible way to keep it moving forward. So I recommend having a look at that. The other conversation, I guess, if you're going through your DevOps transformation piece and starting to talk and you can work on it, is this one. So the first time you tell someone that I'm going to deploy much more often, and therefore that will be safer, not thinking about it again. So they're used to deployments every 6 months, maybe every 12. We had one project around for 18 months before it deployed everything to live. So those sorts of pieces of work, those deployments, you're in at the weekend, you have the pizza, lots of coffee, and it's a nightmare because you're deploying 300 things that have never seen live before. When something goes wrong, it's one of those 300 things. Who the heck knows which? So people in the operations side of the world, again, they're often, these devs keep throwing these grenades at us and it's all sorts of trouble. I do not want that every month. It's bad enough twice a year. But I think hopefully, as we all know, we'll see breaking it down into smaller more often is much safer. You're deploying less. When something goes wrong, it's the little thing you've deployed and not anything else. And you practice. And so you wouldn't sort of rock up to a basketball tournament, play for a country, play for Lithuania, having actually never picked up a basketball for the last year, and assuming it'll be fine. How can it be? Similar with deployments. Practice makes perfect in all things. And if things are painful, do them often. It's me and my youth as a DBA. So I think when we asked some of the operations guys to start looking upwards to the product teams, I think what the developers thought they were getting was deployment monkeys, who would sit there following these big scripts that the developers had given them, doing the deployments for them, so the developers still didn't have to worry. They were done and they finished writing code. So this was clearly not what we were planning, and there was an amount of education had to go on there. I mean, we genuinely had deployments that would have to be done at 4 in the morning, where you would expect a human being to follow a 3-page Word document on 12 servers and not make any mistakes. So you can imagine the state we were in. So the servers, even though the humans, yes, I did them all the same. Humans are very bad at acting like robots. computers are strange, they're very good at it. So we should leverage that more. Okay. So what we're actually, on top of the bring the operational requirements into development, what we task those guys with is bringing more automation to the whole pipeline from start to finish. And funnily enough, when you actually task someone with bringing more automation into the process, you end up with monkeys. No. More automation. Not a surprise, but unless you specifically say, guys, let's look at the automation side, people very, very easily forget it. For some reason, it seems easier for them to take a very shortcut now, rather than spend a little bit extra time. It saves them hours and weeks over the years. Tooling, just an aside, and I think echoing what we heard this morning. So there are lots of tools out there. The key is to pick the one that's right for you. We didn't just pick one, as was suggested. We had a quick look at, we narrowed it quickly down to 4. We set ourselves, I think, a couple of days on each. And then, right, if we can't make this work, we're not going to use it. And there's a variety there. There's Microsoft's version, which is now much nicer than it was at the time. Serena, which is a big expensive automation tool. ThoughtWorks Go, which is sort of very well regarded. And we ended up with Octopus Deploy. We are 90% Windows where we are, and Octopus is very, very good at Windows and deploying via PowerShell, so it's a bit of a no-brainer. It's easy to drape over what we have. But again, key thing is pick the one that's right for you. Don't believe the hype. Try a few. Just get your hands mucky. See what happens. Okay, so anyone guess at what point we introduced the automation deployment tool? So, fairly obviously. So one thing we kind of discovered was you don't have to go, right, we are going to deploy more often. As soon as you make it easier to deploy more often, you end up deploying more often. So the team we had here, there was no conscious decision to go, right, we're going to do more deployments more often. It was just, well, we'll do one. Well, that was easy. We'll do the next one in a month. Well, we could just do 2 weeks. Okay, we'll do it then. By the time it comes a button pressing exercise, by the time change management has seen it work 10, 20, 30 times in a row, they're just like, yeah, got it. Which is brilliant. It's a fantastic place to be. And improves that trust environment. They start to believe the things that you're telling them the truth. So, pain. So while we were doing this and starting to deploy more often and getting quite pleased with ourselves, we had an increasingly grumpy bunch of DBAs, which, even for DBAs, that's DBA. The reason for this is because historically, in the past where we've come from, the DBAs very much saw themselves as the guardians of live service, which is kind of the right attitude to take and absolutely what they should be doing. But they would want to review every line of code that went into the live database and check that it was okay and that they were happy with it. So we're now suddenly going, yeah, so we've got 12 products, they're all going to be deploying once a week. You're not going to be able to do that anymore. So what we've kind of done unwittingly is change someone's job. So we're honest, this isn't your job anymore, it's a different thing now. So they were clearly unsettled. If someone comes along to do that and goes, well, what you thought was your career, it's not that anymore, sorry. There was noise, so we had to sit down and have conversations. Well, what is that role now? Does it exist? Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know if anyone's heard the awful phrase no ops. There were some articles and things on year on, so absolute nightmare, no rubbish nonsense. We still need operations, clearly we do, it's stupid to pretend otherwise. But their role does change slightly. So they are now guys who need to be able to understand the performance of live service, where it's going well, where the bottlenecks are, proactively understand where the problems are occurring, get stuff fixed before. And that was the deviation role. But again, now thinking back on it, probably should have had that conversation I think before we started changing their jobs. So it's definitely one to look out for. Infrastructure. So, automation again. So we have teams, it wasn't just DBAs, things we were working with the development teams. We had infrastructure guys, network engineers, storage specialists, also looking at how we can deploy our pipelines quicker and more automatically. So a lot of work went into being able to spin up a service. So we were at this stage where we were using VMs, but it would take about a day to manually build a VM if it was required. And again, manually being key, so it would be similar to another one we built, but again, we're not guaranteeing it. So I think probably 3 or 4 months of effort went into improving this, automating this, to the point that we could quite happily build dozens of services from version control, so we know exactly what they look like. We've got a version number, so you tell me server, I can tell you what's on it, to the patch level. Overnight, that's fantastic. That's not going to cause any pain or noise, is it? Well, it's great. Oh, okay, I'll come back now. So it's great until we needed more storage. So again, we attacked what we saw as the constraint, and got to the point where, brilliant, got all these servers, we need some more storage. So procurement were working on a quarterly cycle for buying storage. So we have to put our business case together and submit it to the quarterly meeting around storage. If approved, it would then be purchased, so we have to wait for that to come into the building. Then we need someone to provision it for us before we could actually. So I've got a bunch of VMs sat around basically doing nothing for months on it. So again, something we didn't think about or see beforehand. But we were kind of, we had the cloud stuff in mind, but on-premise, in the data centers we were currently using, you can't go, here's some more money, more storage. Okay, well, we don't have any more storage. Backwards one. So again, tooling-wise, so from the Windows perspective, PowerShell, if you've got a Windows environment, go know PowerShell. It automates all the things. It's the equivalent of Bash, and you do all the stuff with it. Most of the tools we already have, don't always think you need to go out and look and buy new tools. There's a lot of them you've got in-house, they're already there, you could use them. If you just think about what things I was trying to do. So we use System Center Manager from Microsoft. We had nice playbooks of step-by-steps that would actually patch servers as we went through, so we knew we were already deploying the latest patches. So we're now looking at potentially using that as sort of blue-green deployment for patching. So instead of having to stop a server and patch it, we can just throw that one away and build a brand new server with the latest patches on it. So again, speeds us up further. So what we kind of obviously created in several places was what looks like two-speed IT. So we can move very quickly on some things. Some other things we were still kind of in the old days where we weren't able to move as quickly as we want to facilitate delivering value to the customers, which at the end of the day is what makes the company money and what really matters. We had other problems again, so the operations teams were starting to go, well, there's all these VMs popping up and disappearing, and it's very hard for us to visualize and understand and be able to actually support these things. So again, we kind of missed that from an operations perspective, despite people working on it being from operations. Again, have to be careful there. It's easy to go native when you're away from the cold case. Keep remembering what you used to do. So two-speed IT. So there was this article from Gartner, it was like about a year ago, where they proposed this bi-mode IT model, basically stating that you had two modes of IT. You had mode 1, which was your old legacy monoliths, your systems of record. You also have mode 2, which is your new shiny microservices, containers, your agile, you develop things over here. And if you keep the two separate, the right way to go is you accept that these are old, monolithic, and suck it up and work with them in a waterfall fashion, like we always used to, whereas you can do all the cool fun stuff over here. So, at the risk of expressing a personal opinion, I'm not overly keen on that as a model. I think it's a complete disaster, and doesn't work. So, it's Everyone more questions? Always a snake oil salesman there, standing against the cowboys going, oh yeah, this will heal all your ills. It won't. This bi-mode IT is snake oil. It will not heal your ills. It will not make things better. So, first book. Has anyone not read this? If you haven't, please do. It's a really, really great way of understanding so many of the concepts we're talking about. It's kind of the Bible, but it's a story, so that's easier to read. And the first way of DevOps in there is systems thinking. Okay? And again, so now we're back to Toyota and their deployment lines, their delivery lines. So back in the 70s, Toyota pretty much revolutionized car manufacturing. So whereas the American companies were churning out substandard cars and things that had problems and slowly, Toyota came along and suddenly started delivering better cars, quicker and cheaper. And this was because they looked at everything as part of the pipeline. So by modal IT, that mode 1, that slow stuff, that's your constraint. You can't move faster than that. So effectively, by just going, well, you can't do anything about that, you're resigning yourself to not being able to ever move as quickly as you want. You are constraining innovation massively. So again, don't do that, please. Systems thinking. Okay, so by way of an example, eventually the American car manufacturers, well, we've got to find out what's going on here. It's costing us a fortune, how can I do everything faster and better? So they went over to Japan and talked to them, and the managers of GM did a deal with Toyota and said, right, just can you come and help us do a similar thing here? The partnership, obviously, there's money involved. And the way that they had it set up was that on every workstation in the conveyor belt, built the car, was a handle. Anything went wrong at your workstation, pull the handle. The whole factory stopped. Everyone swarmed onto where the problem was, fixed it, everything then carried on. Okay? So this is constraints. So if you have a constraint, that's what you focus on, nothing else. There's no point in making your workstation quicker. He can't get his through. All he's going to do is pile up that. That was the technique, and it worked really well. It meant you didn't have substandard cars going through. You didn't have him going, oh, I've just got to move some up so I can catch up. So they took that over to America. Went through it, set up handles on the workstations, and the Japanese then went back to China. Some years later, really, it hadn't improved. And again, the managers of Toyota in Japan went, well, this is weird. Why isn't this working? So they went back over to America and had a conversation and watched the factory. And it all came down to culture. The guys on the American plant had been ingrained in them, you don't stop the line for so many years. No one would pull the lever. If I pull the lever, it'll stop the factory. It's going to cost us a fortune. So they tried and tried, eventually gave up. So again, it's key to understand how much culture can influence what you can and can't do, not the technology. It's all about the people. You can put in the best tools in the world. If the people aren't using them right, you are doomed. One thing we learned early from DevOps is to monitor all the things. So we had a fair amount of alerting hours with very little monitoring. So by that I mean we would have emails spamming around and things were behaving badly. But we didn't have any nice graphs or visualizations and things. So we tried to rapidly get some more. And we built something, nothing like that. No, that's next iteration, possibly. We knocked out an elk stack. We started collecting metrics from IIS logs, event logs, and fed them in, and we had some visualizations. We could actually start to see a bit how our servers were performing when there were problems. If one of the servers started having problems, we would see it going up. We could proactively react to that. It was fantastic. Every single person must love this, right? So this guy not so happy. So again, what we ended up having was on-call guys coming in the morning, really hacked off and not happy. Well, what's going on here? We've got all the monitoring, the alerting, that's great. And what was happening was that whoever was looking at monitoring stuff in just standard what's going on would see something starting to run. Oh, there's a spike in the graph. That's going to be a bad thing. Quick, call the on-call guy. There's a spike in the graph. You're like 2 in the morning. What? There's a what now? Look, seen on the graph. That's why. So do I need to restore my service? No, it's running fine now. Go away. So put your monitoring in, absolutely. But put some effort into helping, making sure everyone understands what it's saying. So monitoring or alerting alone is no use at all unless you understand. If your signal to noise ratio is bad, it's as useless as having no monitoring at all. So again, the more you have with the graph of noise, then it's rubbish. You can get it if you've got a graph that just does this and there's a problem. Nailed it. Okay, sorry, so you can go. Hey, there he is. No, more Walking Dead. Yeah, that's what it does. So he's a walking skeleton, which is a technique I think also got called tracer bullets in the early days. So another way of working, really good DevOps way of working. First thing you do, habitually you write a bunch of code, get something working, kind of thing, and then deploy that environment test, and then deploy it to this environment. Much better way of working is to deploy almost nothing, a skeleton, across all your environments. So again, we know we can deliver to live. We know there's not a firewall blocking us doing that bit. But it's your 18-month project still hasn't gone live. I don't even know if there's a route to that really. I've never done it before. So this way, you get your environment set up and you start deploying your working skeleton, then you start to professionally go through iteratively, small things, small changes from the word go. So you don't just do that once it's in production and then iterative. Do it from the very start. So great concept. Developers quite amused by it to begin with. But why would I just create a nothing? So no, not a nothing. Give me an almost empty database and a website that reads from it. What value does that have? Trust me, right? So again, we worked through it, then gave us the ability to say, well, how are we going to understand operationally what that's doing? Can I monitor this Hello World website? Is it up, is it down? Simple as that. And then we can start adding all the things onto it. The main place this confused was our change management. So our acceptance into service document, our one document, basically had all the things. So the product, software, or service that we deliver was basically the infrastructure and the service that goes with it. So all of a sudden I'm going, right, I want to get all the infrastructure in place, and I'd like that in service, please. I need it patched. You know, I need to pick up if it goes off. Yeah, that's fine, we'll do this. And now I want to deploy software onto it. Okay, so that's under RFC. Change control. But no, it's not live yet. Well, yeah, you just said this, the infrastructure and service. Yeah, the infrastructure is not the. So again, some weeks and months going by, then trying to get them on board. So a lot of these things that we see coming, we would have tried to do, I think, more in parallel. Get everyone bought in. Change management process itself needed to change. So again, we're going, I want to deploy quickly and more often. Whereas we have a slightly slow, arduous change management process, it's going to slow you down to the point where we started doing these things. And then I heard one of the teams saying, well, we're not going to deploy these three things separately. We'll save them all up and do them to one big release because the change management process is so arduous. This is change management introducing risk, not the other way around. This is doing it wrong. Slowing you down takes us back to that old model of deploying one big blob, which is, as we know, much riskier. So again, we need to work with them, understand the whole thing, end to end, how we get from idea to live, that pipeline, how it works, and the walking skeleton really helps you do that in a very visual way. Developers. So, continuous delivery is the model we're all aiming for. Continuous integration is kind of the enabler for doing that. The devs love their branches. Love their branches. Any branching strategy where you've got any kind of long-lived feature branches or lots of branches, you're almost guaranteed to fail at continuous delivery. I know this is one that usually causes a riot, because it did cause a riot when I suggested it to the developers. I'll try and explain. So, continuous integration. Are people aware of that book? If you haven't, that's another great book to read. So, Continuous Delivery by Humble and Farley. This is kind of if the Phoenix Project's the story of how we do it, this is kind of the textbook on how we do it. So it's hard to read, but there's some brilliant stuff in there, absolutely great. So I'm going to steal a trick from Jez. So can everyone put their hand up if we're doing continuous integration? Okay, cool. Keep your hands up. Okay. So put your hands down if your whole team aren't checking stuff into main at least every day. Yeah. Okay. Put your hands down again if every check-in to that main branch doesn't kick off a build and unit tests. Okay. Finally, put your hands down if your build is ever broken for more than 10 minutes at a time. Anyone there? Nailed it. So that's continuous integration defined by Jez Humble, who literally wrote the book. Okay? So you can understand to do that, able to check in things into that main branch at least every day. Ideally more often. Any kind of branching strategy takes you further and further away from that. And if we can't do CI, we are certainly not going to be doing continuous delivery. So again, use that as a definition. It's a really good one. Take that back to your development team. Go, look, this is what we mean by continuous integration, because the term gets used horrendously. Another suggestion, of course, from here right. So another idea, not mine, that we suggested was to help the developers understand the operations teams. Stop using your debugger when you're writing code. So when things are in operation, the operations team find a problem. What they are not going to be able to do is plug in a debugger and find out why it's not working right. So ditch your debugger, start using monitoring tools from the word go. So if you can't work out where your problems are in your own code as you're writing it with the monitoring tool, then the guys in operations who are supporting way more products than you're writing, they haven't got a chance in hex time. So use your monitoring tools from the word go. Start good provide good operations, and when you deliver them to them, you go, well, it's good enough for me, this should be great. Generally it is. But again, that's it's such a change in how we do things. Like changing your branching strategy, because to write stuff where you're checking in things every day, you have to totally change how your mindset works. You can't go out and finish a feature. You have to start breaking it down into chunks in your own head. You can use feature toggles, config toggles and things to make that easier. Okay, so these controversial ideas, the way we've had a really good way of approaching things, all of these things, is pilot teams. So get some guys, and again, I think this got alluded to this morning, get some guys, get some teams who are on board and say, right, try these new techniques. Let's start from the word go, doing things in the right way, front-based development, continuous integration, deploying lots, operations guys on board with the team. Because it's very well coming from someone like me, who's got DevOps in their title, of course I'm going to push that. But when it's coming from your fellow developers, your peers, the same with the operations, so as more operations people can see the benefits of working in this way as well, and the developers works both ways, they'll tell their friends, go, look, this is good. And when the higher directors are seeing a product team delivering more often, a service that's more stable, and they'll be going, well, why aren't you doing the things that they're doing? This is better, this is making us more money quicker, they're delivering business value quicker, and I haven't got as many failures. Simply the guy supporting this event is brilliant, we haven't got as many failures. So again, the pressure comes from all directions once you start doing this. This gets the snowball rolling. So yeah, engage pilot teams, they are your friends. So, one thing to say, as you're going through these transformations, you're trying to change things, you are going to get a lot of noise, a lot of pain, a lot of fuss. There will be some people who profoundly won't come with you on the journey. It happens, expect to lose people. But again, one of the main quotes in the Phoenix project is focus on the constraint. Anywhere else you're focusing on is an illusion. You are not making anything better. But by focusing on that constraint, you will unveil new and exciting constraints. Which were always there, they were just masked by the even slower stuff in other places. So the pain you're feeling is pain that would always have been there had you been doing other bits and bobs better. So yeah, keep doing it. It's going to hurt sometimes. It's like ripping off a plaster. We'll get better. And once you keep doing it, I'm fairly sure awesome looks like this. Thank you.
Any question from auditorium? No one, right? So, raise your hand. Go ahead.
So I know I skimmed across quite a lot of topics quite quickly there. Again, if anyone wants to come and mug me later on, please do.
You can try to stop.
Do you think it's possible in a regulatory environment to do continuous deployment, or is it just
Continuous deployment rather than continuous delivery? I'd say it's difficult. It depends a bit on the products and services you're delivering. So all regulation does is set down a bunch of boundaries and guidance which you have to work within. So for us, as a financial business, yeah, we are heavily regulated, so we need fixed processes that we say we're doing. We need governance around security, what we're doing with our data. So as long as you can bundle all that up in an automated fashion and tick those right boxes, then yeah, absolutely continuous deployment. If that's the service, if that's the vision that you've got and you want to be doing canary tests and ABs, your customers are, and there's a demand for that, it shouldn't stop you. So again, the only real difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment is where we stop, isn't it? So we stop at basically our pre-production environment. But we've still got all the automation, all the checks and balances in place, and we could go all the way. Again, it depends entirely on the services and the appetite of your end users, I think, at the end of the day. So yeah, if it's most important to get new feature function out to them as quickly as possible, if that's where your money comes from, yeah, absolutely worth it. Continuous delivery is absolutely worth it, and it's no special snowflake. Everyone can do it. I don't care what your company is, you can all get to that one. There's no reason why you can't. But yeah, continuous deployment, for me, it's what the end user's wanting and expecting. So yeah, some of the banks and things, I'm going to change everything more than once a year, they get upset.
Okay, we have time for one more question.